Hey everyone, so I'll do the videos page by page, and then you can just watch the ones that you don't understand. Okay, so for number one, here you need to use implicit differentiation because there's x's and y's intermixed with the within the equation. So let's go ahead and start this. So the derivative of sine of x is going to be cosine of x, and then minus the derivative of cosine of y is negative sine of y. But remember, we need to tag on that dy dx. Sorry, I just ran up the stairs. I'm out of breath. And the derivative of minus 2 is just 0. The derivative of 0 is just 0. Okay, now notice that when I took the derivative of the sine of y, I had to tag on that dy dx because we're deriving y. Okay, now a negative and a negative are going to make a positive. So I have cosine of x plus the sine of y dy dx equals 0. Then I want the dy dx all by itself, right? So let's get rid of the cosine of x first. So I'm going to move this to the other side. So it's going to give me sine of y dy dx equals, when I move it to the other side, it's become negative because I'm subtracting it. And then I'm going to divide both sides by the sine of y. So dy dx is going to be negative cosine of x all over the sine of y, meaning that D is my answer. Okay? All right, number 2, if a point moves on the curve x squared plus y squared is 25, then at 0, 5, what is the second derivative? Okay, so I need to find the second derivative of this thing. So again, x's and y's mixed up, I'm going to do implicit. So the derivative of x squared is 2x. The derivative of y squared is 2y. Don't forget to tag on your dy dx. And then the derivative of 25 is a big fat 0. Okay, solving this for dy dx, I'm going to have 2y dy dx. I'm going to subtract that 2x to the other side, giving me a negative 2x. And then if I divide both sides by 2y, I'm going to get a negative 2x over 2y. The 2's cancel out, so it's going to be a negative x over y. Okay, but that's only the first derivative. Let's in a different color do the second derivative. Maybe like, I don't know. Let's pick something pretty here. Where's all my colors? Ooh, I like this one. Okay, so I need to find the second derivative. So the second derivative, d squared y dx squared. So now I'm taking the derivative of this guy, right? I'm going to go ahead and quotient rule that. So it's low times d high, so the derivative of negative x is negative 1. So low d high minus high, which is negative x, times d low, so the derivative of y here, the low one, is 1, but I have to tag on that dy dx, all over, square the bottom, and away we go. Okay, now you guys, I like to do some cleanup here because there's negatives all over the place. Negative 1 times y is negative y. Negative times a negative is a positive x dy dx, and then that's all over y squared. Okay, now they wanted me to evaluate this, so let's do a different color again. They wanted me to evaluate this at x equals 0 and y equals 5. So if I replace x equals 0 and y equals 5, so I'm replacing this right here, right? So y equals 5, so it's going to give me, so at 0, 5. Okay, y is 5, so it's going to be negative 5, plus the x is 0, so I'm going to replace this x with a 0. Now, you guys, I know it's all going to 0 out, but that's not always going to happen. If you get stuck with a dy dx, you have to go back to here, what dy dx was, and you have to replace that with 0 and 5 also. So if I replace this with a 0 and a 5, negative 0 over 5 is still 0. So dy dx is 0, so it'll be 0 times 0. Obviously on this one, I didn't need to do that, but you probably will on the test. I wanted to make sure you understood that. And then that's all over. And then y is 5, so it's going to be 5 squared. So obviously this is irrelevant. So this is negative 5 over 25, which is negative 1/5, hence the answer D. Okay? All right, number 3. Okay, right, which of the following is an equation of the line tangent to the graph of x squared minus 3xy equals 10 at the point 1, negative 3. Okay, so for this one, equation of the tangent line, I need two things. I need a point. Luckily, they gave me that. It's 1, -3. And I need a slope. You guys remember your slope is your derivative, or in this case, it is your dy dx. Okay, derivative dy dx y prime, all the same thing. So let's go ahead and derive that. Now, you guys, whenever there's a minus there, be just super careful. You can mess it up really easily. So the derivative of x squared is 2x. Then I have this -3 times the derivative of xy. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and product rule that. So the derivative of the first is 1 times the second, which is y, plus the first, which is x, times the derivative of the second, which is dy dx. And that's going to equal the derivative of 10, which again is a big fat 0. Okay, now let's distribute that through and clean it up a little bit. So this is 2x minus 3 times 1 times y is y, plus, I don't need all these parentheses. Let's just get rid of them. And then you guys, I'm going to go ahead and distribute that -3. So I have -3y minus 3x dy dx equals 0. So I need to solve this equation for dy dx, but you guys, I do notice one more thing that I could do here. I could actually combine these guys together, right? 2x minus 3x is -x. Let's go ahead and do that. So I have -x minus 3y. No, you can't combine them. Never mind. Ignore that. It has a dy dx on it, Miss Cruzy. Sorry. Like, what am I doing? Okay, the reason why I can't combine them is because this is -3x dy dx. Sorry about that. I just saw that because I'm like, I don't remember doing that before. Okay, so let's get the dy dx all by itself on one side. So I have -3x dy dx equals, if I move the 2x over to the other side, it's going to be -2x. If I move the -3y over to the other side, it's going to be +3y. And then if I divide everything by -3x, I'm going to get dy dx is -2x plus 3y all over -3x. Okay, now you guys, that's just the equation for the slope or for the derivative, but I actually want a value. So I need to now plug in my 2 points, x and y, right? So let's replace x with 1, y with -3. So this is actually going to be -2 times 1 plus 3 times -3 all over -3 times 1. So that's -2 minus 9 over -3. So that gives me -11 over -3, or just 11 over 3, right? Two negatives make a positive. So now that I have a point and I have a slope, I can plug those into y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Oh my gosh, you guys, my x1 is really a1. Okay, and then two negatives here make a positive. So hence, you guys, the answer would be E. All right, so there's the video for the first page. Give me a couple minutes, I'll make the second one.